David's on it.
Oh.
Yes, Hare Krishna. Good morning, Hare Krishna. It is, there's a date. Today is November 26, 2022. Here in the room we have Rohini. My brain is gonna function if I can calm down. Rohini and Gary. Gajendra, I'm sorry, Gajendra, Malini, and my mother, Lynn. And online we have Anasuya, Parampara, Dear Govinda, and Kim. And I'm Kelly. Kelly. So today I'll be giving class on Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, verse 12. And there we go. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Again, so we're doing Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, verse 12. Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, verse 12. And I'd like to plead for help from Prabhupada and everyone else in charge to help me with this class to deliver the truth to the best of my ability. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshuru Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Shtapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayan Dati Svapadantikam Shri Chaitanya Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamini Dinamine Namaste Sarasvati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Chapter 2, verse 12. He knows.
No, that's 14.
13. Oh, I wrote it down wrong. My apologies. Chapter 2, verse 13, please.
No, sorry.
Okay. Hinos minyata dehe. Kalmaram yarvanam jara. Tadahantara praptir. Dirastatra namuyati. Hinos minyata dehe. Kalmaram yarvanam jara. Tata dehantara praptir. Dirastatra namuyati. Dehinos minyata dehe. Kaumaram yauvanam jara. Tata dehantara praptir. Dirastatra namuyati.
Dehinos minyata dehe.
Dehinos minyata dehe.
Gomam yosanam jana. Svanamuyati.
Tirastasvanamuyati.
Vihinosmin Radehe.
Vihinosmin Radehe.
Komaram Yoga. Dear Namuyati.
Tirastasvanamuyati.
Dehenosmin yatadehe.
Vihinosmin Radehe.
Amaratam javanamjala. Tatadeham sarupraktir.
Tatadeham Praptir.
Rastachara mulyati.
Tirastasvanamuyati. Would anyone online like to repeat? Say the verse.
Vihinosmin yatadehe.
Vihinosmin Radehe.
Komaram Yovanam Jara.
Nirvanjana.
Jatadehantara Praptir.
Praptir.
Rastatra Namuyati.
Rastachanamuyati. Anyone else? Okay, we'll do word for word. And the point of this is to help you understand what we just read over and over again, word for word. Tahina
Vihina
of the embodied,
of the embodied.
asmin
Asmin
in this,
in this.
yata
Yata
as,
as
dehe
Dehe
in the body,
in the body.
kaumaram
Omam
boyhood,
boyhood.
yauvanam
Yovanam
youth,
youth.
jara
Jara
old
old
age,
age.
tata
Tata
similarly,
similarly.
dehantara
Dehanta
transference of the body,
transference of the body.
pratihi
Bhakti
achievement,
achievement.
dira
Dira
the sober,
the sober.
tatra
Tatra
thereupon,
thereupon.
na
Now
never,
never.
muyati
Moyati
deluded.
deluded.
The translation: as the embodied soul continually passes in this body from boyhood to youth to old age, the soul similarly passes into another body at death. The self-realized soul is not bewildered by such a change. Purport by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Since every living entity is an individual soul, each is changing his body every moment, manifesting sometimes as a child, sometimes as a youth, and sometimes as an old person. Yet the same spirit soul is there and does not undergo any change. The individual soul finally changes the body at death and transmigrates to another body. And since it is sure to have another body in the next birth, either material or spiritual, there was no cause for lamentation by Arjuna on account of death, neither for Bhishma nor Drona, for whom he was so much concerned. Rather, he should rejoice for their changing bodies from old to new ones, thereby rejuvenating their energy. Such changes of body account for varieties of enjoyment or suffering according to one's work in life. So Bhishma and Drona, being noble souls, were surely going to have either spiritual bodies in the next life, or at least in heavenly bodies for superior enjoyment of material existence. So in either case, there was no cause for lamentation. Any man who has perfect knowledge of the constitution of the individual soul, the super soul, and nature, both material and spiritual, is called a dhira, or most sober man. Such a man is never deluded by the change of bodies. The Mayavadi theory of oneness of the spirit soul cannot be entertained on the ground that spirit soul cannot be cut into pieces as a fragmental portion. Such cutting into different individual souls would make the supreme cleavable or changeable against the principle of the supreme soul being unchangeable. As confirmed in the Gita, the fragmental portions of the supreme exist eternally, sanatana, and are called kshara. That is, they have a tendency to fall down into material nature. These fragmental portions are eternally so. And even after liberation, the individual soul remains the same, fragmental. But once liberated, he lives an eternal life in bliss and knowledge with the personality of Godhead. The theory of reflection can be applied to the supersoul who is present in each and every individual body and is known as the Paramatma, who is different from the individual living entity. When the sky is reflected in the water, the reflections represent both the sun and the moon and the stars also. The stars can be compared to the living entities and the sun or the moon to the Supreme Lord. The individual fragmental spirit soul is represented by Arjuna, and the Supreme Soul is the personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. They are not on the same level, as it will be apparent in the beginning of the fourth chapter. If Arjuna is on the same level with Krishna, and Krishna is not superior to Arjuna, then their relationship of instructor and instructed becomes meaningless. If both of them are deluded by the illusory energy, Maya, and then there is no need of one being the instructor and the other being instructed. Such instruction would be useless because in the clutches of Maya, no one can be an authoritative instructor. Under the circumstances, it is admitted that the Lord is the Supreme Lord, superior in position to the living entity, Arjuna, who is a forgotten soul, deluded by Maya. What do I say after that? Or say anything, just reread.
You can, usually that's when you say
Om Gyan, Om Gyana Timirandasya, Gyananjana Shalakaya, Chakshuru Militanina, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Okay. Chapter 2, text 13, as translation, as the embodied soul continually passes in this body from boyhood to youth to old age, the soul similarly passes into another body at death. The self-realized soul is not bewildered by such a change. Today I want to share in a way that will hopefully support my mom in understanding and anyone new to understand why we're here and where we're going and what we're doing and sort of the origin. From my understanding, we are all, there's the Supreme Lord, Krishna, and we are all part and parcel of Krishna and individuals. We're all separate in that way that we're individual and we have our own desires and wishes and ways of showing devotion or trying to take control. And how I see it is it's like children. It's like having children. Some are very compliant and want to serve the parents and want to be very available to the parents and want the love of the parents. And some are very rebellious and they want to do it their way and they want to, break away and go out into the world and figure out how to do it themselves. And they don't want to be told or guided. And like me, I don't want to be told what to do or anything. So I have my own rebellion of while wanting everybody to be happy, also wanting to do it my way. So for those souls, which is a small percent, 10% of all souls, about 10% of all souls, individual souls, they get to go do just that. They get to rebel. They get to go out into the world like a parent saying, okay, here's your car or whatever you need as a teenager to go out and be in the world. And this is what you want. And so I'll support that. You want to play sports, you want to go to college, whatever it is, I'll support you in doing that so you can discover who you are. So Krishna created this earth for us. We have sense desires and experiences we want to have and things we want to feel and see and do. And so here we are, the rebellious children, doing what we want to do. And Krishna is supporting us. He's here with us. He fulfills our desires, whether or not they serve us. He creates along with us. When we desire, we get to co-create with him to have experiences. And sometimes those experiences are fulfilling and enlivening. And sometimes, probably most of the time, we discover that they don't go quite as well as we thought they might, or that they even would be what we thought they would be. It's like going to college and thinking, oh, I want to be a nutritionist, and then getting in there and realizing, well, I have to take calculus and I have to do all these things. And maybe this isn't as exciting as I thought it was. And so maybe you change your major and try something different. So here we are. With Krishna's help, and dabbling in the world, dabbling in the earth, and experiencing our senses, and doing things that we think will be enlivening, and jumping out of planes, maybe riding horses, and playing in the woods and climbing trees, and I very much enjoy. And those don't come without things like ticks and falls off of horses and things like that. So yeah. So there are, I want to give another broad perspective. There are 8.4 million different species in life that arrive from different sense pleasures of the living entity. So when we come here, we kind of design our own experience where all the different species that are here have a desire, like birds get to fly and horses get to run free through the fields, and dogs run and play in packs and whatever dogs like to do. And we have different ideas of what would make life really fun. And part of that is well, at the root of that, we want to control our experience. So we've set it up. We create with God experiences that so this whole idea from the verse of when we die, we move from one body to the next. When we make this transition from one body to the next, there are desires there, the kind of experience we want to have. And so we create that experience. And as I said before, it doesn't always turn out the way you thought it would, or you wanted it to be. And so many layers. And even once we get here, it's not that pure and clean. We are covered by other experiences and the other individuals' ideas of what they want things to be and how they want to control their environment and how they want to do life, their experience. And so when those come together, they clash, and we react and we respond, and we sort of create walls of protection because it's scary and uncomfortable as we encounter these other lives and these other experiences, and even nature herself with her catastrophic power and immense capacity to create life. It's a very challenging world to be in this on this earth where we get to create our experience. So, I like this. So Krishna exists here with us. He's in each of us while we allowing us to co-create with him the experiences we want. And his goal is to help guide us home, like a parent would come in and try to be understanding and try to support what the child wants to do, and then to encourage, to create opportunities for the child to come home to a place that is nurturing and that is fulfilling and that is loving. The parent may have a better idea of how the child should live. Krishna knows where true joy and true fulfillment lives, and that's in the spiritual world with him, which we are rejecting. I'm a highly resistant human being, spirit soul, and I'm consistently resisting so much in life, and resisting Krishna a lot. So I see here, it's really hit home for me when I read this, that he keeps offering me so many opportunities, and people like Malini, Marie, who are in my life and have been for a long time, and who have been trying so hard to guide me open doors for me to come to spiritual realization, and I resist her left and right all the time. And I really resonate with that resistance of wanting to do it my way and thinking I know like what the right way for me is. And I guess in some ways I do. I know what I like. Maybe I don't know what's really best for me. So this sharing life with Krishna and his knowing that he's there is really helpful for me to want to trust him. I want to trust him. I'm not there, but I want to. And I know that when I've experienced that when I let go of trying to control whatever I'm doing or whatever's happening around me, like all the things, especially during COVID, that were so disruptive, I get to trust that at least my soul is cared for and supported, and that I don't have to get so caught up in that and try and control it and be so disturbed that I have no control, and that the world seems to be crashing around me, and that the government and other countries and all of this 5G stuff, whatever that may be disturbing, it feels so overwhelming and out of control. And I get to let that go when I trust him. I get to put that down because it's so heavy. So heavy. And so I love that I can, when I let go of the resistance and that intense need to control and make it okay, and then I get to relax. I get to just pass it over, just put it down, and give it to him, and know that there's just nothing I can do anyway. And it's really, that's such a relief. It's so liberating to not think that I could and that I can control anything, not my own, not even sometimes my own reactions feel out of my control, but I'm in the process of that too. And yeah, I endeavor to trust Krishna, to trust that he's with me, to accept the knowledge that he's there. And that's really hard because I'm very skeptical as well to buy into anything that's new and different and that seems foreign. And I'm so emotional. Yeah, I want, thank you. That's my train of thought. When I started, right before I gave class today, before we all got started, I thought I was in this mode of like, okay, I need to prepare. I need to have everything ready and have all my notes. And gosh, I should have been studying for this for weeks, much like I handle school and everything else. I should have been preparing, and I should be more prepared, and I should know, and I should have read this whole book already. And I haven't even gotten past the beginning of chapter 4. And so I have all this need to control. It's this, I realized, I'm just trying to control this class that I'm leading, and what I know is I know this much, if that, and that when I do let go and trust that there is guidance when I allow higher power in whatever form that is, Prabhupada, Krishna, Chaitanya, that I get to let that flow. Then it's so much easier to do that than to put all this pressure on myself and like need to control it and make it just right and know that I'm saying the right thing and that I'm not going to misinform anybody or deliver the absolute truth from my point of view, which is just my point of view. And So I'm torn between, as Daru referred to yesterday, shooting off the cuff, and admiring Dira for always being so prepared and so knowledgeable and delivering so intentionally, and which I also appreciate deeply. My father was an off the cuff kind of man, and he would give speeches to many people without any preparation. And it was really, I was so young then that I didn't really get to experience a lot of it. I think at a funeral I experienced it once, and he was so genuine and so real, and it all flowed right from his heart. And I loved that about him. And I think I do that a lot. And so I get torn between, do I do that? Do I trust? Do I allow the flow? Do I trust that Krishna will guide me and allow that for that like playful experience, that free, like liberating, natural experience to take place? Or do I study and force this to be just so? And is there a happy medium in all of that? So those are some things that came up. And then as I was reading this text, I'm switching gears completely. Well, not completely. This stuck out to me. As I was thinking about, as I began this, us moving from body to body, and that I appreciate not being bewildered by this change, not being disturbed or afraid of this change, or seeing it as bad or anything like that, to embrace it. And I appreciate here how it says, rather he should rejoice for the changing of bodies from old to new ones, thereby rejuvenating their energy. There's been a lot of talk recently about old souls, that some people are experienced as old souls, which makes so much sense. That's the point here, that we come again and again as and our soul comes. And so we come with whatever knowledge we've gained, and not intellectually. We don't remember any of this, but there's some part of us that has progressed in this process. And when I speak about our soul to people in general, and our body versus body, soul versus body, being a soul inside the body, as people age and as I am aging and things are changing in ways I have no control over, I'm seeing, though, that I still, and so many people I know still have this idea that they're very young, this idea of like, they think they're young, and then they look in the mirror and they're like, oh, that's not how I feel. That's not where I think I am. That energy, that soulful, youthful energy doesn't really age. It grows, it learns, it transforms, but it doesn't age. It doesn't get old and tired like the body does. And so I'm appreciating this. It's fun to think, okay, when I do leave this body, when my soul leaves this body, I get to come back with new energy, with a body that can handle the energy that my soul has as much as it's able to. Sometimes I feel that the energy inside of me is way more than my body could ever hold or express. And so it's interesting putting that together for me in my mind. I appreciated this. The purpose of knowledge is to understand that the living entity has by chance fallen into the material existence. When he understands his position, then he can turn to the Lord and return to spiritual world of blissful life. That just kind of wraps up what I've been trying to say, just concisely, succinctly. Yeah, I appreciate that too. That knowledge isn't necessarily college or book smarts or what we are told knowledge is in this life. But it's more of just the understanding of like what self-realization is, that realizing who we are, what we are, where we come from, where we want to go, where our soul does desire to go on some level, even if we're resistant and not wanting and to let go of control, not wanting to surrender, which is so hard to do. That once we realize that, once we really understand who we are, that we are a spirit soul and not this body, and that bliss does exist in the spiritual world, that there is true bliss far beyond the bliss we think we get to experience here, which I have not yet grasped. Sounds nice, sounds utopian. Yeah, when we get to do that, then it sounds like here it's easier to turn to the Lord, to turn to Krishna. And in that process, we get to go back to the spiritual world and get out of this place that we've decided we think we need to be, to go home. So, it's touching to go home. How sweet. I always cry on these things. So anyway, I think I'd like to end there and open the floor for corrections, for questions, for realizations, or your whatever comes up for anybody. I want to hear it all. So please. I know it was a short class. Oh, okay, Kim. How do I? Oh yeah, Kim. I just called you.
Hare Krishna. I don't even know exactly what I'm going to say, but thank you so much for class. It was really beautiful, and just starting out, the fact that this made me cry. That your mom is there, like that is such a wonderful thing that she would come and listen to your class to try to understand how you believe and what you think. I would want that so much. I cannot tell you how happy that would make me. So I can only imagine. But anyway, and then you said, about what some of the things that you've really been able to, rest, have peace in Krishna consciousness, which for you, it seems that letting go and letting God, knowing he's in control is very, peaceful for you. And I'm still struggling with that one. But I have to say, the thing that I find I think I've repeated this. I probably repeat myself too much in class. But one of the things I always found that has been the most peaceful for me is that I always felt like, God was punishing me. Like every time I did something, I'm being punished, And when I started to understand that, it's karma, it's just built in this wonderful system he creates, it really is wonderful. And just like if a child touches a burner and they get burned, their mother didn't want them to get burned. She's probably even told them how not to get burned, but they got burned. But she didn't cause that, It's built into this perfect system of teaching and, law. And once I started to really understand that, I can't tell you the peace that's brought me in my life, So I wanted to share that, and just gratitude for your class and for your heart. I just want to thank you.
Thank you,
That's
Kim.
all.
Thank you. It's a sweet sharing, and I'm so glad you brought up karma. It was something I wanted to get into and forgot conveniently. I am so grateful. Did you hear her sharing? She shared that she was really touched to know that you were here and that you were interested in coming and being here and seeing what I've been doing and being open to what's opening me and to the change you're seeing, to coming and to experiencing what that looks like, what that is, even though it's very foreign. And I hear, Kim, that you would really like that for your mother too. That would make you feel, that would be fulfilling for you to see your mother open to even just coming and listening. And I am so touched and overjoyed that she came to the Festival of the Holy Names as well, and even went into the tent and even chanted, and I'm just deeply touched. So on that note, I wish that for all of your mothers and fathers. And thank you for acknowledging my class in that way. I'm grateful. And on the note of karma, the perfect system. Yes, that's at the root of a lot of this, that we get to come here and create our experience. And in that is this perfect system of, if we do something, there's always a result of whatever that might be. If we, throw something on the ground, it will break. And we'll either be glad because it's a joyful wedding celebration, or we'll be heartbroken because we've broken something. And so there's, in all the decisions we make, there are consequences or outcomes. And one of the things we learn in Savatov is how not to be attached to the outcome. And that the emotional attachment to that can create such disturbance in us. So as we see the people around us that we love moving in their karma, making choices that create really disturbing situations for them, really sad, uncomfortable, even destructive situations for themselves, we get to choose to really be attached to how we want their life to look and how healthy and happy we want them to be, and then experience the great disappointment that it's not happening. And then we get to also choose to let that be their experience that they've come here to have, that they are choosing to engage in, whatever that looks like. And even those who are doing everything perfectly and wonderfully and creating all these businesses and their life and their family, everything appears so perfect, it looks that way to us. To also maybe not get too caught up in that and too emotionally influenced by that, and to allow to just observe and enjoy their process, their karma. So it is, I agree, Kim, it is so helpful to understand that structure, to understand this perfect design where we create what we reap what we sow, in a way. And we can sow whatever we want. And it can be beautiful and loving and compassionate and empathic and genuine and authentic. And it can also, due to material life, due to Maya, it can be quite dark. It can be experiences we can allow the fear to come in and cover us and react in a way that can be harmful to ourselves and to others, and hurt people. So as people, go through pain, and unfortunately in this time, there's not as much support for how to handle that, for how to handle really scary, traumatic, or even subtly damaging experiences, or even what our emotions are. Some people don't, some children, some parents don't know how to teach, and children don't understand their emotions. So they cover up, they hide, they protect, they make themselves small so as not to feel the pain. And I really appreciate Savatov, my Savatov experiences, for helping me identify these things, these pain, these wounds that happen, where I have so protected my heart so perfectly that you can't get in, and I can't really get out. And I'm working on that. I want to break that down. So I feel grateful to have the support, to have found support to help me understand the knowledge, the truth, the absolute truth, which I'm endeavoring. Anyone else want to share? Yes.
First, I want to say how much appreciate your speaking and your emotion, present philosophy, reasoning of Krishna consciousness, the truth, the absolute truth. But I always appreciate your emotion, and really strong emotions you bring. They're very effective, very personal.
Mm-hmm.
It almost like you help me feel, and I really appreciate that. I wanted to comment on the verse a little bit, because I really appreciate this verse, and it's just so vast for meditation, I feel. And when I was young, when I first heard this verse, it was very much about the contrasting spirit with body, who was kind of like see, I'm not this body. The body's always changing, but I'm this this constant, there's this constant part that's me. And it was kind of this organizing the relationship between matter and spirit. As I got older, and actually, because I was 17 when I first heard this verse. So as I got older and actually began to go through the stages of life and then even watch my children, it began to take on more meaning, where in substantive terms, I was really looking more at, you talked about the design and things. These are literally processes. Like there's the process of being the child, the process of like becoming the teenager, and these stages of life are really processes. And with this verse, more and more I really want look at what those processes are, getting away just from that initial understanding of sort of difference between spirit and body and not be bewildered. But it's all really purposeful and deliberate, what we learn from each of these stages, because they're unique. And like I said, of course, they all go together to produce an experience that's unique to us that we're supposed to learn from.
Including job.
Hmm?
Including job. Old age.
Oh, yeah. Which, by the way, was the name of my wife.
Wow.
But apparently there's an older gopi in Vrindavan too, so kind of like there. But and it is really deep and powerful too when we try to look at, what is knowledge, and you brought up sort of like knowledge and what is knowledge. I think what we're trying to learn is like, you talked about like, knowledge isn't necessarily just like, what you learn in college and stuff like that. In fact, nowadays it might be the opposite of knowledge. But if you're really looking at knowledge as the expression of actual knowledge, what really defines knowledge is that place of self-understanding. That's the real knowledge. And it's not really up here. It's that state of being that's just that place of being really smooth and well despite what's happening externally. Because that's where all the change is. Even our body is, we often think of external like external to our body, but when we're actually self-realized, external, our body is part of the external, So it is really there, but this last one, that is in terms of this life, it is one of the unique, it's very uniquely positioned as a place of change. But it is all these processes from the boyhood to youth, old age stuff that is preparing us for that. And I also wanted to say I appreciate too about your mom being here, and it's really meaningful. It caused me to reflect on my own mother. And I just referenced, I felt really supported by my mom, because again, I was 17 and she stood against all the relatives on both sides of the family who were just like, do something to probe whatever. My mother just like came to the temple, and she just absolutely defended me. And it was really powerful, and it really meant a lot.
And I remember your mother was coming to the temple even in your adult, not something when you were 17, but until she left, until she left the planet, she was coming to the temple.
Very supportive.
I remember your mom.
That's so beautiful.
And she was extremely organized in life.
Oh, how nice. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your sharing. I appreciate everything you brought up. I appreciate it. I feel helps me to hear from you that you appreciate my emotions, because I spend so much time trying to hide them
So much.
and not be vulnerable. And so it's helpful to know that, to hear that when I do express that it's helpful for others.
Yeah, it's rich.
Yeah. So thank you. And I love how you've equated life itself to like a seminar, Sabato seminar, of like each stage is a process. And I appreciate your desire to understand what process you're in. So it's like, how do I get the most out of this process, this part of my life, this one process? Where do I get to grow here? Where do I get to dive in? How do I move forward so that I can make the most of this life? And it's ultimately, upon death, the great big change, the big transformation that life prepares us for, to go back to Godhead or wherever your desires should lead you. Hopefully Godhead. And then, yeah, I'm thank you for sharing about your mother. It reminds me of my mom. At one point in my life, I met this wonderful couple in Connecticut, and they had this place where they did weddings, and it's beautiful land. And I was 12, and I wanted to go. They invited me every summer to come up and just live there and help with weddings and travel around New England. And they showed me all around. And most of my family was not okay with that. Like, we don't really know these people, and she's only 12 years old, and you shouldn't do that. And mom trusted me. She always trusted me. Until a few times in my teens where I proved I may not have been so trustworthy, but she stuck by me with that, and she went up against some very strong members of my family and supported me, and that was really powerful. That act really helped me know that I could trust myself too. I didn't really question it before, but it was like an extra boost. I didn't know that was even possible, or that was even a thing. And so, like, having the support of a parent in that way against all the rest, so powerful. So I can relate to that. And I'm touched that she was so supportive of your process in finding Krishna too.
And I can tell you, the longer I live and go through my process of, my mom has left this world, the more I appreciate my mom. It is really kind of beautiful in the way the relationship with my mom, continues past the time of her departure.
Oh, that's so beautiful.
Like it still develops. It's amazing.
Yeah, your relationship with your mother continues to develop, even though she's not here in front of you in her body. She's left, but you still evolve in that relationship within yourself, and perhaps with her in some way.
Yeah, I think there's some kind of, I don't know what form or consciousness she has, but there's, these connections are transcendental in a way, if we allow them to be.
Yeah, transcendental connections to your mother who's gone.
I think even as devotees of Krishna, it's like, we don't necessarily go through ancestor type, rituals like in some cultures that might be. But, we are told or informed that, I don't know the exact, but if you become a pure devotee for 7 generations, like back and like we are meant to care about.
Yeah.
We are meant to find more purpose in ourselves and becoming Krishna conscious. Like, even if we just loved our parents or our children, like the best thing we can do for them is to become spiritual, spiritually.
Yeah. So you're saying that ancestrally, like, the best thing we can do, each of us, is to love each other and to move towards Krishna, and that helps the entire line of ancestors. Yeah.
That's right. And I'm proud of that.
You can see it in your own life by becoming Krishna.
Yes.
Krishna
Thank
conscious, and your mother, as she comes closer to leaving this world, she gets to be also Krishna conscious.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, this is, I'm experiencing that to be true, that I had not come on this road, I know that my mother might be having a different experience than she is. By me finding this path and moving towards it and opening enough to it, that I get to share with her, and she gets to find different understanding than she may have understood before, and progress her soul in that way, and also ease her distress in this life, to understand the bigger picture than this body, and that maybe I can meet my brother there one day. So cool. Thank you for your sharing. I appreciate it.
Krishna help you.
Krishna help me. Yes, my mom says, Krishna help you. Yes, Krishna, please. There was a Raghunath. I saw him in Denver, and he had done a talk on Joe Rogan show, which my brother is an avid Joe Rogan fan, big Joe Rogan fan. And so when he mentioned that, I thought, oh, this is it. My brother's also a musician, and so Raghunath is tattooed and really cool, and he's a musician. And so I thought, bro, this is it. This is how I can get a little Krishna to my brother. And so I sent him the link, only to discover he had already seen it. That was his only response. Seen it. It's like, okay, hands off. I leave that to Krishna. That's done all I could do here, for now.
It's
So,
a family thread anyway.
yeah,
You're devotee inside, but nobody will know. Right? Nobody will even.
devotee in spite of ourselves, and also, yes, hidden devotees. And don't tell anybody about it.
Don't tell anybody, and even more so the people close to you that want you to be. It's an opposite.
Yeah. Show up as I used to be. Any other sharings, thoughts, questions, corrections, randomness, Thanksgivings, holy name experiences? I'm open.
Going once, going twice.
Krishna.
Krishna, see ya.
I just wanted to express my gratitude for today's class, and I also was very touched by your emotions and by your mother being present. It helped me to reconnect with my mom today, and I really miss her. And I also feel that she knew she wasn't that body, and that she would listen to these programs when I would sit in a chair next to her by her bed. And sometimes she didn't like what Dear had to say, but but it started a conversation, right? So I was just having some really nice memories as you were sharing and having your mom present. And it just made me really appreciate when you were saying that we should rejoice when we were given our new body and rejuvenating the energy. And so, yeah, I feel that very much so for my mom. And I feel that she is in a different body that is serving her service today in a joyful way. And I've always believed that ever since she left her body. And Bhakti yoga, Krishna consciousness gives me that peace and joy to know that mom is serving in her capacity in another way, and that she wasn't that body. So that I just wanted to share that.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing, Hare Krishna. Yeah, I appreciate that you hear your care and love and trust, care and love for your mother. And I know she recently left her body, and I'm appreciating the trust that you're so grounded in this trust, that you know that she understood she's not this body, and that she is now serving. She has rejuvenated energy, and she's serving in Krishna for Krishna. And so you've known since she left that she was well cared for and moving forward in an energized new way. Thank you for sharing. And how you mentioned something I wanted to comment on, and then it slipped my mind. It's gone. Must not be important. That's fun to let go of. So Yeah, I'm appreciating the opportunity to lead class today. Thank you, Malini, for your persistence through the years and this weekend. And and yeah, and dear Govinda, of course, thank you for your support. And thank you all for being here. Very dear friends are here and to me. And yeah, I don't remember how to wrap it up. Is there a thing? Okay. As the embodied soul continually passes in this body from boyhood to youth to old age, the soul similarly passes into another body at death. The self-realized soul is not bewildered by such a change. And I want to say, this is the first verse that dear Govinda taught me to learn to say without reading. And here I am reading it, but I do know it. And so Hare Krishna, thank you. Hare Krishna, thank you all for being here. Hare Krishna. Tam ki jai. Shila Prabhupada ki jai.
Thank you. Thank you, Kelly.
Thank you. I think he turned it off. I don't know. Go end. Okay.